maybe half an hour when I didn't even give 3% of what I have here. So obviously we're going to need 20 meetings in order for me just to ask some simple questions. But it's okay. I'm going to try to ask the shorter questions because I understand what you say. All right, so the point is like this. I'm expecting you, please, to come back to me at your convenience, not today, with the answers. How is it possible that there are 25 mistakes in a book that claim to be from God? It's impossible that God made mistake in a text. This is, we conclude that. Question number 2, if Jesus is the Son of God, who needs to waste time to prove from King David all the way to Joseph when we say Joseph is not the father? Third question is, please, that's a new one, please explain me, how do you have more than 150,000 different versions to the New Testament? You have today, if you want the source, I have it, I will give you the source. Please explain me how there are more than 150,000 different texts. Okay, that's question number 3. Question number 4, please tell me, how is it possible that in the New Testament it says that Jacob went to Egypt with 75 people when everybody agreed that the Torah say that Jacob went to Egypt with only 70 people? Okay, please write it down. I'm going to make it a little bit slower for you to make yourself the comments. So that was question number 4. Question number 5, please tell me, from all the religions in the world, you know what, I should say it differently. From the 3 major religions, because I do not know 80,000 religions and cults. That's not my purpose in life. But from 3 religions, Islam, Christianity, and Judaism, please show me, there's one prophecy in Christianity. Islam never gave one prophecy. It's interesting that the Muslims call Prophet Muhammad, when yet I promise you, searching the entire Quran, there's not even one prophecy in the entire Quran. Prophecy means a clear message for very long time, hundreds of years or thousands of years later, that a person had no indication that something like this is logical to happen, but he came and described a complete prophecy. Christianity has one prophecy. The Christians write, if you want the source, I'm saying everything now by heart, but if you want the source, it will take me a minute to give you the pages where it is in the New Testament. But I'm sure you're aware of it already. So please, it says over there that the Jews will never return to the Holy Land. When we ask the former Pope that just died about a few months ago, we ask him, how do you explain that there is one prophecy in the New Testament that say the Jews, God left the Jews after the destruction of the Second Temple, that's what you claim in your books, and it says clearly over there that the Jews will never return to the Holy Land. Every blind person knows today that there are approximately 6-7 million Jews living in Israel, more or less. There are many Jews. We are not talking about the state of Israel. We are not in politics. There's nothing to do with the state of Israel. They say Jews will not return to the Holy Land. So the Jews return to the Holy Land. Question number, 7? Question number 7 is, please tell me, the prophecies throughout the Bible, there are many, many prophecies that speaks on time of Messiah. All of them, with no exception, describe that in the time of Messiah, the Jews will have great life. The enemies would leave them alone. There will be no war. The Jews will not suffer from anyone. Nobody ever suffered. The Jews never suffer more than the time that Jesus lived, in the time of the Romans. In his lifetime, millions of Jews were dead. Millions. Up to that time, so many millions of people died. From the time of Babylon, 600 years before him, from the time of Nebuchadnezzar, and his time when the Romans came to Israel and slaughtered the Jews daily, every day, and destroyed the Holy Temple, there was one of the worst time in Jewish history. Since then until today, we have not even one indication of what the Bible said that the Messiah will do for us, that Jesus did for us. Not even one, not two. There's many, many signs that the Messiah will do. I don't have the time now to start listing all these prophecies, but you know about all the prophecies that speak for the future in the time of Mashiach. I gave you 3 or 4. I can give you more if you insist. But none of those indications occurred in his time. Now, the Messiah is supposed to save the Jews from all the nations. And all the nations will come to Jerusalem to learn from the Jews' Torah. Now tell me please, a person that could not save himself when the Romans put him and hung him on a cross, his words to God was begging God to save him. And the Romans were telling him, no, save yourself. Let's see if you're going to be able to save yourself. He could not save himself. How can he save us? He couldn't help himself. Plus, it says that the Messiah, in one of the prophecy, will have children, will have descendants. He will have Zera. Zera means descendants. You know, as I know, that Jesus never had children. Please explain me, the most important mitzvah in Judaism is the first mitzvah from 613, the first one, which makes it very important, is to marry man and woman. And the marriage institution is the holiest thing in God's eyes. How is it possible that the Christian church took one of the foundation of the world and made the priests unable to marry and have children when it contradicts one of the most important foundation of God? Please tell me how a person that you refer to God was hungry one day walking with the students, and this is in the book of Mark, chapter 11, you can write it down. The next day he entered Jerusalem and Jesus was hungry. And he saw from far away a fig tree that has plenty of leaves. And he started to get closer to the tree. Maybe he will find some fruit to eat. He came to the tree and he found no fruit other than leaves, because it was not the proper season for the tree to give fruit. And he
out of paper, by the way.
Yes, and which, you know, very good. You know, there's no coincidence. So it says like this: I'm cursing. I'm glad you enjoy, but please, we are now only arguing to find the truth. We're going to shake hands, we'll stay friends. Nothing here is personal. I want to say it again. The point here, I am asking questions that if we're going to get the answer to all these questions that we ask, we have a very serious problem. Why? Because we declare always that if you find one mistake in the Torah, that's going to be the end of Judaism. One mistake, not two. And we have very many mistakes that we highlight, as some of that you heard from me. And if we're going to get the answers to all these contradictions and all these impossible things, then we are people that seeking for the truth. We're going to have to double check our future. But I'm continuing with what I said. He was very hungry and he was looking for what to eat. There was nothing to eat. And he went close to the fig tree and he saw some leaves. And what did he do? He cursed the tree. Correct me if I'm wrong. He cursed the tree and says, nobody will ever eat fruit from you. Question number 1 regarding to this. If I am God, or the Spirit of God is in me, that means I'm a superpower. That means I'm supposed to save the world. That means when I look at the tree, one time a student asked him, can you tell us how many leaves on the tree? And he said, let me get closer and count. If I am God, I need to go to the tree and start counting how many leaves. Oy va'avoy if we have such God, that we have to count how many leaves. How can we even waste a second with this kind of God? I'm not saying it as a joke, don't get me wrong. This is a solid point, please answer. And the most important thing, what is the crime of the tree? That God made a rule in nature that the tree has only a few months in Israel, as you know he lived in Israel, that he can give fruit. And that was not the time of the fruit. Why the tree has to be cursed that he'll never give fruit? Please. And why would God be interested to curse something that he made? Plus, the next question, tell me please, Jesus said in the New Testament in Matthew 24, if a person come and make magics to you and give you signs that he is the Messiah, do not believe him. This is his words. Because there are many falsified messiahs and false prophets, and can make magic and fool the crowd. And yet, in another place in the book of Luke, chapter 7, and in John, chapter 4, his student came to him and say, how can you prove to us that we should believe in you? He say, because I'm able to do magics. You just said yourself, don't believe in people that are able to walk on water or to feed people with a loaf of bread, many people. Why? It's magics. The Egyptians used to do it, as you read in the Torah. Moses throws his cane, becomes a snake. Comes the impure Egyptians, one of the worst nations in history, the ancient Egyptians. Each one of the kids threw his cane, he became a snake. Does that mean they're God? The Torah just told you, if they are able to make magics, they are nothing, because this is the power that God put in nature, that the impure people are able to do magic. Is that an indication that he's the Messiah? For sure not. Plus, he himself admitted, don't believe people who make magics. And they ask him, how do we know you're the Messiah? Because I'm making magic. Is God making such mistakes? Such contradiction? I'm sure that is not. The next question is,
could you email me these questions?
I am. No, you don't need it. You're going to have a recording. We're going to give you a recording.
I have to be able to answer these questions. You want a good answer, right?
Whatever you can, whatever you can answer right now, you have the time to do it. Whatever you cannot answer right now,
you won't cut me off.
Give us one answer.
No, wait. I didn't finish. Believe me, I got to put some of the... Oops, I'm sorry. Okay, the next question. I got to bring these questions out because I don't have a problem sitting here and listening to your answer. Don't get me wrong. I have the time. And even if the crowd will leave, I'm going to still stay here to listen because I am seeking for the truth. But I told you, this is all short questions, as you see, not like the first ones. First one were very long, but I learned my lesson.
No, you don't know how long the answer's going to be. You have to do a big exposition.
No, I tell you what, I'm afraid of another 20-minute speech about what, and the night is over.
How about my fears? How about my fears of the endless question?
You're giving me under the belt now. Okay, so I'm almost done. I'll cut some. Almost done, and then you have the microphone for yourself. The next question that I got for you is, the Torah, as you admit, is the Word of God. Say you should love your friend like you love yourself. And in the book of Matthew, chapter 5, it say, love your friend and hate your enemies. The Torah never say it. The Torah say the opposite. Even if you have a Jew that is not your lover, is not such a great friend, he speak bad about you, is still your brother and you have to love him. Comes the book of Matthew chapter 5 and say, love your friend, but hate your enemies, contradicting the Torah clearly. It's the same God, remember. They claim that God also gave that. Comes the Torah and say, you should love your God with all your heart and all your soul and all your money.